Hi everyone, I'm Evangeline right here at etrailer. Today we're talking about the Seaflo Hand Bilge Pump. Now every time I go kayaking, I always seem to find something new that I need to bring for my trip. Whether it's bug spray or sunscreen or making sure people know that I'm out and about kayaking. But the last trip I was on, I actually needed this and I didn't have it. One of my friends had their kayak tip over and they're safe, they're all fine, but it was a really uncomfortable rest of the float because try as we could not get all the water out of their kayak. It was really heavy to transport. It was just not the best time. So having this handy would have been really helpful. So we'll talk about what this is, how it works, how you might transport it, and that way you can decide too if this is what you need for your next kayaking adventure. If you're familiar with the term bilge pump, you're usually thinking of a boat. So think of a big boat and the bilge pump is usually installed in the boat. It's usually wired in or plugged into power, and then as water comes up inside the boat, it'll automatically pump that water out. And that's not usually something you would think about for a kayak. So here in the kayak, we have our rear compartment filled with water. Usually this will happen when your kayak tips over or if you leave it open and it rains. So with all that water in here, this makes it very difficult to scoop out, especially with a very shallow area. So what you would do with a hand bilge pump is you would put the hose on there, make sure everything is secured and that the hose is facing out of the kayak, and then you just start using the pump and you'll notice that the water is now coming out. So this will be a much faster, much more efficient, and much easier to use compared to your own little scoop that you might try to scoop the water out with. Inside the kayak where it's even more shallow, you can see how that pump is pulling in the water. And there is a slight filter at the end just so that the debris doesn't get caught up too much in the pump. This is a very affordable add-on to your kayaking adventures. But with that in mind, there are some things that you may have to consider to get the best experience out of the whole thing. So this consists of what feels like a PVC pipe with different attachments, and then you have your hose. So the hose goes onto the end, and I do recommend keeping a hand on that because as the water pressure increases, that actually could just pop right off. Same thing for the pump. The top attachment does come off of the pump. So what I do is I hold on to this with one hand and hold on to the other with the other hand, and then I hold those two things together as I activate the pump. So as more of an effort as that seems like it involves, in all reality, they make it like this so that it is easy to take apart. And over time, the water might just show up inside that pipe and you can just dump it out just like that rather than having to do this the entire time. So it is very bare bones, but it is also very affordable and easy to transport. So that's just the trade-off there. It's 25 inches long, so you can see how this could fit into your rear storage compartment. You could put it in your kayak. You could probably just strap it onto your kayak as well with the little bungees on there. The options are endless. A lot of people store this with the hose separately to make it a little bit easier to put in your kayak or other watercraft. For quick little kayaking adventures, I highly recommend checking out the handheld bilge pump. It's really easy to use and it does get all the smaller spaces in your kayak that you might not be able to dump out by yourself. With that in mind, I also recommend looking into plumber's tape to secure all the different components if you're using this on a larger boat or more extensively. Or you can also take a look at some of our powered bilge pump options if you do have a larger boat. that may have power on it. So with that being said, if you have any questions, or maybe you're looking into those different options and you're not sure which one is the fit for you, feel free to reach out to us here at eTrailer. We love getting neighbors set up with all the things they may need for their adventures, even things you may not have realized until you get out onto the water. But today what we saw was the Seaflo Hand Bilge Pump for your kayaks and canoes at etrailer.com. My name is Evangeline. I hope you enjoyed this journey.